let's torture him some more with a game that you should not spend your actual money on. Florida State is going to Clemson. Clemson is a 2.5-point favorite. What do you like? The poor guy at BetMGM who makes this line. What do you think he was doing? Like, do you think he's just like, why are we even doing this? Why are they even playing this game?
Better. I think it's a computer that does it.
Yeah.
There's a dude in the back with a calculator and wearing like yellow tinted glasses coming up with these.
There's some of these places have a genius who's just
like Ace Rothstein is just back there just handicapping plays like it's 1963. I don't know. The ACC is going to be healthy again one day when Florida State, Clemson, and Miami are all good at the same time. And for a week, I think it might have even been 2 weeks, Florida State, Clemson, and Miami were all ranked in the top 15 nationally this year in the polls. Miami, Florida State, and Clemson all have more than one loss in the ACC.
At least Miami makes the graphic of the top 8. Florida State and Clemson don't even make the graphic.
Buddy, what is this bowl game called? Just the toilet bowl? Like, I don't know like what we are calling this. Like Dabo Swinney just like said, "This is my fault. I did a terrible job this year. Please forgive me and don't fire me." Like that's
let's hear from Dabo Swinney because Dabo Swinney was talking about how 2010 was his toughest year. This was at the press conference after the Duke loss. He also got fined for saying that the pass interference call at the end of the game was one of the worst calls he's ever seen. He got fined $10,000 by the ACC. But he was talking about how bad 2010 was and where this compares to that. And he pointed out that Graham Neff, the athletic director for Clemson, was sitting in the press conference on Saturday. Here's Dabo.
That was a really brutal year. And, lost at home here to South Carolina. Thought I was getting fired right here in this room, actually. I walked out right there and walked around. And Kath, may get fired today. Graham's sitting in the back there, so I don't know. I can't say I blame him. But, my wife's waiting on me crying. And I walk in, Terry Don's in the office, and I literally thought I was getting fired. And Terry Don Phillips, hugged me. And he said, I believe in you more now than I ever did, and we're going to get this thing fixed, and you just keep being who you are. And, that was a really low walking off the field that day. So I would say 2010, and then obviously this season, incredibly disappointing. The season's not over. I mean, we're going to fight and battle and see if we can finish somehow, some way on a positive note, but this is, we've had 14 great years, but this is definitely the worst we've had since then.
Boy, that sounds like a guy who's excited to play the Noles this weekend.
Do we have any clips from Mike Norvell news conference?
He's happy because they beat Wake Forest 42-7.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen here. The game's in Clemson. I'm going to just take points as an asset and hope for the best. I don't know how to break this down. If you have any insightful thought process on this, then go for it. But
I got nothing. Both defenses are probably going to stink. It could be very similar to what we saw in the Clemson Duke game, which turned on a pass interference call that Dabo called the worst he's ever seen. It was a pretty bad call, but they also gave up 46 points. So it doesn't really matter that you gave up, that you had one bad call. So,
and just so you know, Duke, the team that beat Clemson 46-45, still only has one loss in the ACC too. And Darian Mensah is awesome, and they're not a terrible team.
Cooper Barkate, the transfer from Harvard, is lighting it up. One of the best transfer receivers we've seen this year.
Do you know that I wrote a huge story? Okay. And his plan was always to graduate. He graduated from Harvard, right?
He did. Yeah.
Yeah. His plan was always to graduate from Harvard and then go play power football if it goes well at the next, as a grad. And of course, that dude picked Duke. If people don't know this, Cooper Barkate is exactly how I think Andy would try to raise his kids. which is and his dad's like a very successful person. And there was a story, and I'll never forget this. He took Cooper Barkate's dad, who was leading receiver for Duke this past weekend, took him to a football game when he was like 6 years old. And Cooper, the kid, said to his dad, "Man, being one of those guys would be the best job in the entire world." And his dad goes, "You know what the best job in the entire world actually is?" And Cooper looked up at him and goes, "What?" And he goes, "The guy who owns the team who's sitting up there in the box." And then that kid went to Harvard. He was a 4-star player from Newport Beach, California, and had Power 5 offers, and he chose Harvard. He was going to go get a degree at Harvard, and then he was going to go play Power Conference football as a grad, and of course he picked Duke. And it's working, but like that guy's going to own a team one day, and he's also lighting up Clemson's defense. By the way, taking Florida State.
That's a long way of saying I'm taking Florida State after they got
no, but I thought it was a bad
destroyed by a Harvard man.
You always talk so much about how everyone's selling out for the bag, and everyone wants. And I get it. Like, he's from Newport Beach. I'm sure his father's doing well financially.
Yeah, they already had the bag. The bag
like,
the bag
it's not like it's like some sort of
ensconced.
heartwarming story, but like you do feel so much for people who just like try to like go to the best place or try to get to the NFL as soon as possible or take the biggest bag, and it doesn't work out. Like, I actually thought it was refreshing to hear somebody like have an actual plan that emphasizes education while also like doing the best he can to be football. And now he's the leading receiver for Duke. So I'm happy to hear that their plan is actually working out. I don't know if he'll be in the NFL. He's a really good player. But if he's not, he'll probably be in an NFL front office with, some ownership stakes somewhere. I'm rooting for him.
So I'm trying to figure out what to pick in this game. The Florida State Wake Forest game is really screwing me up because Wake Forest came into that game riding high. They just beaten SMU. Remember, they should have probably beaten Georgia Tech. There was an offsides that was not called. I was sure that was going to be a close game. And Florida State blew their doors off. Mm-hmm. So I have no clue what version of Florida State this is. I suspect maybe the Florida State finally just kind of clicked. They out-athleted them. They will not out-athlete Clemson, so it will be much closer. And I have no clue what to pick in this game. Dabo's basically telling the AD, "Don't fire me, but fire me if you want." Like, Mike Norvell doesn't want to be fired, but could get fired and would be paid $1 bajillion if he did.
Is Dabo in actual danger of being fired this year? Like, is that happening? I don't think he is, right?
No. Nope. Okay. Nope. But Mike Norvell is. And that's what's interesting here.
Yeah. And if you want to go off of the most recent thing that happened, which I think is fine because vibes are good. Florida State lost to Stanford this year.
Yeah.
Just putting that out there. Yeah.
That's what makes this so hard, that this would have actually been a pretty easy Clemson pick had Florida State not done that to Wake Forest last week. But now I'm very confused. So you're taking Florida State because they're getting points
in a
which
game
is logical.
Yeah.
Very logical. I think Clemson puts it together this week like Florida State put it together last week. So I'll take Clemson to cover. They don't have to cover very much.
Clemson's lost a bunch of games, but Clemson hasn't looked like losing 34-21 to Syracuse is bad, but that was before Angeli was out, right? So
that was, yeah.
Like, I don't know how that losing to Syracuse looks bad now, but I don't know if it did in the moment. They've
lost to Syracuse, SMU, and Duke at home.
I don't think that Clemson's lows have hit the lows that Florida State has. That said, Florida State's high was as recent as last week, and Clemson's coming off of it's just. I'm just going to take
Florida State's high was beating Alabama, but
yeah, no, but I'm saying like they're riding high right now. But yes,
give me Clemson in this one.
And if you're
I wish I could
real
do a
money
good reason why,
then may the Lord be with you.
That's right.